Any questions? No. So perhaps I briefly come in with this to inform you also that the next steps of our competition will be linked also with our 15-15-15 initiative. We have had as an outcome also of January's workshop and also as a result of the work of the Rio+20 Issues Cluster on Innovation, the proposal that global civil society should commit at the Rio+20 conference to mobilize 15 billion euros and 15 million volunteers by the year 2015 to support United Nations-led sustainable development efforts. And these proposals have been submitted or communicated further to the official negotiation process as comments to the zero draft from the major group NGOs. So it's already in a very advanced state, and we will use this concert and also the next rounds of the competition and this action-oriented elements of the competition to make this 15-15 vision and goal reality. And with this, I would give the word to Paul, because Paul has to run, and Paul has a very interesting initiative. He's from the Global Campaign for Climate Action, and the initiative is Win a Date with History. Please, Paul.
Thanks, Miron. Thanks very much for asking me, and it's great to support this. I think this is a wonderful initiative. Perhaps first of all, I should say something about the GCCA, the Global Campaign for Climate Action. It's a very new organization. It's actually an alliance of now, I think, about over 325 different organizations from across the world. And it's an alliance of lots of different organizations. It includes people like Greenpeace, WWF, Oxfam, ActionAid, but also faith groups, the unions, health groups, and so on. So we're aiming at as broad alliance as possible of organizations that normally wouldn't work together, but are united behind the need for climate action globally. The alliance came together in order to get the FAB deal at Copenhagen, at the Copenhagen Climate Summit. We didn't get the FAB deal, but what we did get was this growing alliance. And so it was decided we'd keep that alliance moving and focus on 2015 and try to get climate action in a whole range of different ways. So that's the GCCA. In terms of our work on Rio, we decided earlier on that Rio+20, I'm old enough to remember Rio back in 1992, and in fact 1982 and 1972. So Rio could actually be Stockholm +4 and 40, I think it is. The 1972 Stockholm Environment Conference, of course, gave birth to the United Nations Environment. Anyway, being 20 years, being a generation, we decided that obviously we should focus and reach out and deepen our relationships, particularly with youth. We've been negotiating most of the lives of current youth, and we need to take action. So we felt it was really important to broaden our relationship with youth, and indeed we have done, working with Brazilian youth, Rio+20, Rio Más Dos, and youth around the world, but actually in a much more facilitation background, providing information, providing resources, and actually letting them do what they need to do, allowing the youth to take ownership, allowing the youth to step forward. And with that in mind, we had this idea of a date with history, which looks back at what happened 20 years ago when the voice of a 12-year-old girl stopped the world for 6 minutes. And building on that experience, this time I'll just like to show you this date with history, which we launched a short while ago as a soft launch, but now is gathering momentum. And it basically says, if you had 2 minutes to tell the world, what would you want to say? So, I mean, this is really what I wanted to talk about, which is this date with history. And that hopefully we will be able to we'll bring whoever wins the prize. The idea is that obviously you upload your speech or something creative, and then using your peers, Facebook, social networking, reach out and get votes. And eventually there will be a jury that will decide on the final winner. And that That jury will be made up of celebrities who've already agreed, some of them have already agreed to be there, but also the youth are taking control and ownership of the jury itself. So the criteria by which they decide who the winner is, the people who are on the jury will all be down to the different youth groups who are involved in this. I think the other thing that's very important as well is that we've made it very clear that we don't want this to compete with the major groups and the internal processes that are already underway within the UN. So it's very important that we keep a good dialogue going with the different youth groups as well as with the UN Bureau, who are fully behind this as well, to make sure that there isn't that competition, because the sensitivities, etc., are really important. So let me hope that by now we can do this. Nearly.
Fully down.
We'll leave it for a while. We'll take another.
Perhaps one question: how is your cooperation with these main media, like newspapers or on TV? Did anybody report about your initiative?
Not yet. We did a soft launch to sort of get it out there, but it's we don't want this to be sort of branded in it. We want it to just go out there and have ownership by whomever. So you can put it on your own website. For example, NRDC and other organisations are putting it on their own website, and they kind of give a guidance for their particular issues that people might be interested in. From our point of view, it's an outreach tool. It's a way of reaching out, just to tell people this is going on, and to get people engaged in the debate about it.
Because it's a similar concept like ours, and we see that once we ask young people to express their views, and that's the basis. But then the next step needs to be to bring out this message to the broad public, so that it's heard really. It's not just enough asking people to tell something, but then also on the recipient end to work that people...
It works this way as well as this way. That's exactly right, yes. I think it's very similar to that.
Mm. I have a question. When you finally choose this one video by the jury, what do you do with it?
Finally choose the speaker, the final...
so there is a contest between these individual video clips.
Yeah.
And when you finally choose one video that won the contest, what do you do with it?
The person who gave that speech will deliver the speech in Rio.
Oh, I realize.
Yeah.
In which context will it be?
That's exactly has got to be sorted out yet. It will be in Rio. It will be a major event.
So it's a pitch for the actual speech.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's not competing with the major groups, because that's already an allocated space within whichever high level or whatever. So it's important that it doesn't compete with that. This cannot take the place of that, in other words. But whatever kind of process there is.
I'm only a child, yet I know we are all in this together, and should act as one single world towards one single goal.
Promote it at our concert later on. Perhaps invite your winner also to our concert. But it's a long way for us to get to the concert.
We'll be happy.
Also, there is another side event on Tuesday, the 27th, which is they're having some celebrities, etc., to talk broadly about communications and trying to reach out beyond the usual suspects on Rio+20, which we're helping with as well. So I recommend that one too. It will get there. The 1:36 is telling lies.
This might be far enough that if you play from the beginning, it might be finished by the time you get there.
Stop. book page.
What is
You can,
Yeah.
you can also change the resolution to make it lower.
I can what?
Change the resolution so it.
we are almost there.
I just push the buttons. Eh?
And which celebrities have committed to give their voice for you?
Well, there's people like, what's his name, that actor? DiCaprio?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, he's expressed interest as Canadians as well. Finish up this time. But as I said, the value of this is really reaching out horizontally amongst peers of people that hopefully will upload their speeches and talk to their neighbours or friends, and that's where the value of this is, and hopefully get a big package. So at that point, I think I'll say thank you very much, and thanks for your patience.